So Gaddafi being the person who he was, America sought out to take on his weakness. So what they did is they spread his weakness to the whole world on how the image of Gaddafi is. So when becoming a revolutionary person, you should be very careful on your wrongs, because your wrongs are the ones which they will be taken or they will be used against you, even though you've been doing the right thing. What you have been doing wrong is what people will perceive more, and that will be used to bring you down, because this large system which is not which is not the good system, which is the bad system, there's no way you can convince the other people that they are bad or doing something wrong. For it is easier for them to convince people that your wrongs than for you to convince them on their people on their rights. So some of when doing some of this revolutionary or being a leader who speaks up for people, you should look mainly on your weaknesses, what you have been doing, and what things that what people may perceive you, or what can be used to bring you down. So the United States brought Gaddafi down for what he was doing. He was doing some things which people accepted it was bad, and the United States were able to brainwash people into thinking that Gaddafi is a certain type of people, other than looking on his vision for uniting Africa and creating a world currency, which at least by now, at least the world would have been better, in a better place, because there will be oil in Africa where Russia wouldn't be engaging in some of these activities. And also Africa being a good states of country, it will also be the economy of the whole world will have now been stable. But due to Africa not being stable, the whole world also is not stable, because of some of these things that Gaddafi died before he advocated for them, or he had executed them for. So another leader is Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was a type of good leader, but Nelson Mandela, he lacked tenacious in his character. Being a revolutionary leader, people will try to put you down, people will try to break your character, but you don't have to be strong. You also have to inflict pain on other people the way they are inflicting pain on you. So you'll have to do certain types of ways to also show that you are strong and also can react, because if people see you're not reactive, they will take that as an advantage, and also they will praise you for your many qualities, but at the end of the day, you will not have been able to speak up and succeed on what you have been saying. So Nelson Mandela was jailed for more than 20 years. Getting out of jail, he was asked on what he perceives on the people who took him to jail, but at the end of the day, Nelson Mandela said he forgave them. Although Nelson Mandela forgiving them was the right thing, Nelson Mandela would have done something also to show these people that what they did is not right, and also set boundaries. It is good to set boundaries. If anyone crosses this line, this is what will happen to him. But if there are no boundaries, anybody will be able to cross that line, knowing that they won't have any repercussions on him. So Nelson Mandela could also have inflicted pain, and also could have shown a little bit tenacious for him, and also for the freedom of the world to have taken place, and he would have stood up for the truth, for what these people had done is wrong. Another leader, or many leaders, were like Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro got a chance, they were gathered up with Che Guevara, which most people know him because of his image today. The image of Che Guevara is almost everywhere. People see Che Guevara as a symbol and as an image for freedom, because that is what is called being a successful person in what image you bring to the world. If you are successful in what you do, your image will be just a symbolic brand for freedom. right now, if anyone wants to say freedom, can use the word Che Guevara to mean freedom, because people will know freedom by the name of Che Guevara or the image for Che Guevara, or people can know revolution by the image of Che Guevara. Che Guevara has painted his image and has changed the dictionary of the world for us to look at him as the name of revolution and the name of freedom, because everywhere you see his picture, it symbolizes freedom and revolution. That's now becoming a good revolutionary person and becoming a revolutionary idea. So there was another time where Che Guevara, some of his main facts which I adore with Che Guevara, there was a time where he was almost been, it was his last day where he was, there was an officer sent to him for him to be killed. So Che Guevara, when the officer came to Che Guevara tied up in a hut, Che Guevara told the officer, "Go ahead, shoot, coward, because you're going to kill only a man." He told that guard, "You can go ahead, you'll only be able to succeed to kill a man, because the guard killing him was a coward." So that guard was a coward because he was being used by the system to do wrong, and yet he was able to pull that trigger knowing that this is wrong what you're doing. So being able to advocate for freedom is everyone being aware on what his actions are and what he is doing, because some of the past people who have been advocating for revolutionary, some of them have been killed by the people who they try to protect. Like Che Guevara was fighting for the freedom of that guard, but that guard at the end of the day killed Che Guevara, the person who he was fighting for the freedom. But at the end of the day, the guard and his family are now suffering lives after lives because of the mistake of that guard, because not being aware of what his actions are and why is the system using him. If he was a true guard or a person who is courageous, he would have stand up and told the people who had ordered him to kill Che Guevara he won't be able to kill Che Guevara. Now that is what Che Guevara termed him as a coward, because he was not able to see the truth. A coward is anyone who is not able to see the truth as it is. That is a coward. So Che Guevara and Fidel Castro they were friends, and Che Guevara helped Fidel Castro in advocating for the freedom of Cuba, where Cuba was taken hostage by their president at that time, which was being aided by the United States of America into doing what the USA wanted them to do. But Fidel Castro was able to break that chain, and he was able to take and free Cuba from that chains. And since from that time, Cuba has always been free from the influence of other countries on influencing the way they do and how they partake their ways. And although they have been victimized and although they have been doing a lot of things, Cuba has always been remaining strong. And Che Guevara and Fidel Castro breaking apart was Che Guevara wanted Fidel Castro to take this revolution to many different types of countries and also free other countries which were locked up. But Fidel Castro was adamant and he refused what Che Guevara offered, and he decided to rule his own country independently. So Che Guevara broke and went apart and also started revolution in different types of countries. In Africa, he started their revolutions. And this brings my statement where I said when one country is free, then it is able to free other different countries and other nations. And this is why Fidel Castro fell, because he had the opportunity to free other countries and other nations, which this idea was for Che Guevara to bring freedom to other countries and other nations, because Cuba was free from was already free from slavery, and also it was already free from the influence of other countries, because most of these countries can't be able to speak up because they are under the influence of these big countries and superpower countries. So if Fidel Castro could have taken that opportunity and followed what Che Guevara had said of putting up for a free nation for everybody, then the world would have been free right now. So that is what it takes for somebody to be free and revolution. For just as when you held a siege, a small particular area, you can expand your territory to other different areas. But before you have not conquered any area, it is very difficult for you to conquer the whole world. You have to conquer a small area first so that you can conquer different parts of the world. And it is very easy for you to fight for freedom it is easy for you to fight for freedom than to speak for injustice. It is easy to do the right thing than to just move a step doing the wrong things. The wrong things are very hard, but if you do the right thing, it's very easy and it's very automatic, because your heart flows, because you have no barriers, because when you go to sleep at the end of the night, you know, my conscience is clean. And this are some of the things which people should take as an advantage of speaking up for what is right. So basically that is what it takes for a revolution to happen, and this is the right time of the world to have a revolution, because the world is very well connected, and any part of the world where something takes place, it is very difficult for not an information of reaching a particular type of any place, any part of the world right now. And as I had told you earlier, that the communication right nowadays are being monitored and are being supervised by the government of the whole world, and that's why we cannot gain access to some of the information which is on the internet, because the government has and is invisibly put its hands and also controls on what is happening. Also the media, it also controls lots of media. So when we get at least one independent media house, at least we can spread good news to all over the world, and at least we can advocate for truth and right all over the world. Unless we have a truth thing, it is very hard, and this can be gained by revolutionizing a type of country. Which type of country you are, you can try to revolutionize. You also can try and apply the methods which I've told you to revolutionize a country. As long as, and some of these people who are on top and who are gaining and who are the ones who are sitting on us, it is easy for them to kill than for us to kill for our freedom, because these people are not willing to let go for their luxury and what they are having, because they know the repercussions of living all those things. They won't be able to enjoy, so they will fight, and so that they can protect on what they are and what they're having right now. So these people are willing to kill anyone so that they can stay at their state of being right now. So but people should not be discouraged, and one of the things that God likes is courageous people and people who speak, because how can you be protected by God and also at the same time fear Satan? Because that doesn't mean you have faith in God, because it means you worship still Satan. Because if you are courageous of God and courageous on who God, and you know really God who He is, you won't be able to fear these evil things which are happening in the world. So you'll be able to advocate for the right, and also you can be able to change the world on how the world is currently living and how the things in the world are happening. So let me see you in the next episode, and I thank you for your time, and we'll be talking more about also revolutionary and how to do some of these things, but also we'll be talking about stories of different people. So last episode I was talking about certain people. Also you should check out the last episodes, and I say thank you for taking your time to view this video, and please subscribe, and I'll see you next.